what if I told you that your chance of surviving a sudden cardiac arrest might have less to do with your health and more to do with your zip code? It sounds crazy, right? But today, we're going to break down a massive European study that uncovers this life-or-death lottery that's playing out every single day. Okay, let's start with this number right here, 7.5%. That's it. That is the average chance, your average chance, of surviving a cardiac arrest if it happens outside of a hospital in Europe. I mean, that's a shockingly low number, right? But what's even crazier is how much that number can swing, depending on where you are. And that's what brings us to our first big idea here, a life-or-death lottery. It's this simple. Your address, your location, can literally be the thing that either dramatically boosts your odds of survival or tragically cuts them down. So before we go any further, let's get on the same page about what we're actually talking about. An out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, or OHCA for short, it's not the same thing as a heart attack you see in the movies. This is when the heart's electrical system just goes haywire. It stops beating completely. Blood flow to the brain, to everything, just stops. And the scary part? It can happen to absolutely anyone, anywhere, at any time. Okay, but here's where that lottery idea really hits home. Look at this. In the best-performing regions in Europe, your chance of survival can be as high as 35%. 35. But in the worst-performing areas, it plummets to as low as 3.1%. That's, what, a tenfold difference? For the exact same medical emergency, the only difference is your postcode. It's just staggering. So the big question is, how do we even know this? And maybe more importantly, why is this happening? Well, the answers come from this absolutely groundbreaking investigation. We're talking the largest of its kind ever done in Europe. It's called the EuReCa-THREE study. And just take a second to absorb the scale of this thing. We're talking data from 28 countries, a population of over 230 million people. And they analyzed over 45,000 confirmed cases. So, this isn't some small random sample. This is a massive, incredibly credible deep dive. And they had one primary goal: figure out what separates the people who survive from those who don't. And when they crunched all those numbers, what did they find? Well, above everything else, the single most critical factor, it all comes down to one simple thing: the clock. 12.2 minutes, that's the magic number here. On average, across all those countries and all those thousands of cases, it takes 12.2 minutes for an ambulance for emergency medical services to get to the scene. So just over 12 minutes. Go ahead and burn that number into your brain for a second. And you might be thinking, okay, 12 minutes. That sounds pretty fast, right? I mean, does a minute or two here or there really make that much of a difference? Well, let me tell you, the data on this is crystal clear. Yeah, look at this. The data could not be more blunt. For the patients who did not make it, the average ambulance response time was 12.6 minutes. But for those who did survive, 10.4 minutes. That's a difference of just over 2 minutes. Think about that. 2 minutes is the average gap between life and death. It tells you everything you need to know. Every single second counts. Okay, so we know that time is absolutely critical. It's the king, right? But the study also confirmed that, it's not the only thing. There are other factors that play a huge role in stacking the odds in your favor. So what else can change your odds? Well, your chances go way, way up if your heart is in what's called a shockable rhythm. That's something a defibrillator can actually fix. It also helps immensely if someone sees you collapse, right? Because then the clock starts right away. And it is absolutely vital if a bystander jumps in and starts CPR. And kind of interestingly, your odds are actually better if it happens in a public place, probably just because there are more people around to help. Now, on the flip side, what hurts your chances? Well, older age is a factor. If the collapse happens at home, maybe where you're alone, that's not good. And of course, the big one we've been talking about, if that EMS response time goes over 11 minutes. So when you take a step back and you look at all this data together, the main takeaway, the big message from this incredible investigation, well, it becomes pretty much impossible to ignore. And this quote, this comes directly from the people who did this study. Just let this sink in for a minute. A response time greater than 15 minutes reduced the chance of surviving by about half. Half. Just a few extra minutes on the road and your chances of living are cut in half. I mean, it is just such a stark reminder that in this race against cardiac arrest, every single second is a battle for your life. Now, obviously, we've just been hitting the highlights today. The full EuReCa-THREE study is just packed with fascinating details. So if you're the kind of person who likes to get into the weeds and see all the data for yourself, we highly, highly recommend you check out the original publication. You can find it in the journal Resuscitation. And all of this leaves us with one last kind of personal question to think about. Because this data, it isn't just academic, right? This is about real people in real communities. It's about our neighbors, our families. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If that clock started ticking for you or for someone you love, how fast is your ambulance?